What's up, guys? It's Raul Espinoza with the Iowa Entrepreneur, and today my guest is Chris Nicol with Elite Insurance Solutions. Thanks for coming, Chris.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Like what before the insurance days, before your entrepreneur days, like where'd you go to college? What got you, to where you are today?
Okay. So I grew up in Ankenys.
Okay. So you're local from Ankenys. Awesome.
Yep. Cool. Really, I have never left except for to go to Iowa State to go to school. So
okay. So you're a Cyclone too.
Yep.
Okay. Awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Good to know. What'd you go to college for?
I went to be in finance.
Okay.
And then I decided, it wasn't for me.
Not
so
finance.
yeah. So ended up going into marketing.
Okay.
And got my degree.
Awesome.
Just bachelor's degree. Cool. And I met my wife here.
In Ankenys
when we were in high school.
Cool.
And we dated through college off and on, and then got married.
So you married your high school sweetheart.
Yep.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So then you went to college at Iowa State. What'd you kind of do after that? Did you know where you were going and what direction, or did you always have like an entrepreneurial mindset?
Yeah, I really had no idea what I was going to do. Yeah. So my mom and dad, when I was growing up, they had their own business as well. So,
okay.
That kind of led me down that path, I think.
Okay.
My dad was in sales. My mom kind of was the office manager, and they had a fairly successful business.
Okay. So it's kind of rooted in your family as business owners.
Yep.
Okay.
So, going down that path of trying to figure out what I was going to do, I knew in my mind that I wanted to do something that allowed me to kind of set my own schedule.
Sure.
Be available for my family as they're growing up, because that's how my parents were.
Of course.
But also be able to reap the benefits of hard work. You know? So
yeah. Would you say you felt pressured having entrepreneurial parents that you had to have a business of your own, or you just knew you wanted that?
No, not at all. I just knew that that's kind of the lifestyle that I wanted to have. So
you probably growing up, you appreciated having parents there more than some of your friends that you couldn't go to their games or something, or
yeah, my mom and dad were able to go to almost every one of my games.
Really?
Even though my dad, I played baseball and basketball and pretty much every sport up until certain ages. So like in 9th grade, I quit football. In 10th grade, I quit basketball, and I just focused on baseball.
Okay, baseball, awesome.
Yep.
And do your kids, they play sports at all?
Yeah, yep. My son and daughter both play sports.
Awesome.
Liam is on a baseball team here in town.
Cool.
They play year round. I help coach that team as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So how do you balance all of that? You get to obviously get the privilege to go to all their games because you're an entrepreneur and set your schedule, but how do you balance work life in that way? Because we're going to talk a little bit more later about your business here in Ankenys and what you do, but how do you find that balance?
It's not as difficult maybe as I would think. Really? I can work at 5 a.m. I can work at 10 p.m. Yeah. Most with technology, as you probably are aware, you can pretty much work when you need to or want to. My cell phone is the main phone we use for the office.
Okay.
Check voicemails, check emails, as long as you get back to people in a very reasonable amount of time, you can pretty much set your schedule and really make your life to work for you,
Work for you. Yeah, I feel like that's some entrepreneurs, that's what they struggle with sometimes, is depending on if they have kids or not too.
Yeah.
But that's cool to know that it's easier for you. And would you say you're an organized person, or is it just comes naturally?
Fairly organized. I wouldn't necessarily say I'm the most organized. My office is not super clean necessarily, but I try and put things in place to help me with that. I have an assistant that works with me. She's great and kind of helps me stay on track and on task.
Yeah.
Using simple tools, calendar all the time, being diligent about making sure you have that accurate.
Yeah, of course.
But no, it's, just use those tools that you need to.
Plenty of tools out there for you.
Yeah.
So you got out of college and then you were kind of trying to find yourself. How did you find Elite Insurance Solutions?
So right out of college, I interviewed with Farm Bureau Financial Services.
Okay.
And had a good friend that I kind of looked up to. who was an agent there, and I thought, well, I look at his life, his lifestyle, how he's going about things, and that seems like it would fit for me.
Sure.
So I went and interviewed and got a job as an agent, and it was a good fit. Initially, you have to get licensed to sell insurance.
Of course, yeah.
So it takes some months. It's not something you study in college, It's a totally different line. Yeah. So I went and while I was getting licensed, I actually worked at Ronaldo's on 3rd.
Which is now Porchlight. That's wild.
Yeah, so cool. It was when it was Derby's right before Pete Ronaldo bought it. And then I kind of managed the bar for, I would say, maybe 4 months. It was the winter time, and I was studying for the exams and getting that out of the way. And I would work nights and study during the day, and it worked out great. So once I got all my exams done, I went to work for Farm Bureau. Worked there for 11 years.
Wow. So you were there for a while.
Yep. And then I started Elite Insurance Solutions. It's over 4 years ago now. So,
okay. Wow.
Yeah.
So you've been in business for 4 years now, and it's crazy because you're just a few blocks over now from where you used to work. So is that when you drive through, do you ever think like, man, the town has changed a little bit? Or
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I lived in the northwest side of town, we were about as far out as you go. There's nothing but cornfields. And now I live even further west, and we're kind of like butting up on Highway 415. Like you can't go any further. So yeah, I've seen it go from, smaller town in 1980 when I was born to all the way to what it is now, which is 2 high schools. And
yeah, it's crazy how fast Ankeny has grown over the years. And now I think they're saying we're in the 80,000 or so range for population. And I mean, when you were here when you're working at Ronaldo's, what do you think the population was back then?
That's a good question. I'm thinking 45,000.
Really?
Somewhere in that vicinity.
Doubled now. That's insane. So tell us a little bit about Elite Insurance Solutions. You started this business, and it's like a multi-line. When we talked earlier, you mentioned it's a multi-line insurance agency.
Yeah. So that just means we sell a lot of different products. Okay. So, and we can work with a lot of different types of clients. So we can work anyone from a person that just needs a renter's insurance policy all the way up to a person that has a small business and needs group health insurance benefits for their employees. We can offer all the products that any of those folks would need. And obviously we kind of have our specialties and things that we seek out in the niches that we are most comfortable working in. But yeah, that just means we can just do anything. So life insurance, disability insurance, health insurance, home and auto insurance, small business insurance, we can do it all. And then if there's something outside of, our comfort level or maybe a product that is needed, we work with a lot of different, I would say, partners in town or to maybe provide those things. So if someone is looking for a financial advisor, we don't do that. We don't sell investments. And then we would maybe help connect them with a financial advisor that we know and trust. Same thing with if we're working with a business that is something bigger than what we're normally used to, or maybe needs a product that is outside the product range that we can offer comfortably, then we have partners that we can refer them to. And
see, that's great that since you're independent, you don't have to try and hit certain numbers that the big wigs or corporate tries to tell you to hit. And if someone comes to you for help, you still help them either way, even if they can't become a client, because it's just you're being real honest 100%. And I think that's what's nice about having someone like you locally, they can trust.
Sure.
So if a client were to come to you and a potential client and ask you, why do I need this kind of insurance? I'm kind of lost. I'm starting a business. What way would you start with them?
Well, we kind of have, in being self-employed, I really like working with startup businesses. Okay. There's a lot of different steps you need to take. Obviously, insurance is one of them. And helping and starting my own business, I kind of can be a good generalist for someone, a good resource, and then I can help them with each product that they would need and explain to them, this is why you need this, and this. Ask them a lot of the underwriting questions,
Sure.
probing questions to make sure that we put the right products in front of them.
Yeah.
I would say when I'm sitting down with a new business owner, and we would immediately start with just a simple general liability policy
Sure.
or professional liability policy. We would talk to them about health insurance and benefits, because now maybe they don't get benefits at work, like they were before when they were an employee, let's say.
Okay.
So we can kind of go down all those product lines and help explain what it is, why they need it. And then the benefit of being an independent agent is we have a bunch of different companies that have their niche of people that they're trying to go after. And we can sort that through that for our customers so that they don't have to go out and get 30 quotes. We can be the one that quotes that for them. That they can save a lot of time.
Yeah.
Go to an expert, try and figure out. I always relate it similar to a doctor relationship, right? Most people go to their general doctor.
Yeah.
And that general doctor can really help you with most of the stuff you need on a day-to-day basis. They can figure out, ask you what your symptoms are, try and figure out the right solution. And that's kind of how we operate.
Sure.
And if it's something outside of what we can offer, then we can send you to a specialist, and we know which specialist would be best for you.
Yeah.
So
working locally, it's probably best for a lot of your clients, and they probably like it that way when, everything's so online now.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't really get to see anyone face to face, and they can't truly understand your problems.
Sure.
I mean, the general description, but when it must be a benefit for your clients to come to your office and physically sit down one-on-one, and you get to really read them and see, that you've truly helped them, and that you're there to listen to, not only just business, but I'm sure plenty of clients have just really told you this, you've helped us with this problem, and everything, like with the floods a few years back.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've had any clients that kind of benefited from anything like that. Or...
Yeah, we had a lot of water in people's basements. That was a really good experience for the clients that did have a claim. They kind of got to see, hey, this is why this was important to have. I'm glad Chris talked to us about this. We picked up a lot of referrals from that scenario.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Well, because there's plenty of things that, like, they have people have insurance online and stuff that they've not really met with an agent, and they think they're covered, and then worst case scenario happens and they're not.
Yep.
Could you explain to us, maybe how to check for that? Like,
Sure.
Fires and what does flooding count and all this? Like,
I can go through that questions. A little bit. I think the biggest thing, when you go buy something online, if you're not the expert, I would maybe relate it back to that doctor situation, right?
Okay. Yeah.
If you don't really know what your symptoms are, but you don't necessarily know what prescription is going to be best, you can Google it, but there's a lot of information out online. It doesn't cost anything extra to go talk to a specialist about that, like an insurance agent.
Sure.
We're a little bit different than maybe an attorney, for example. They're going to charge you for their time. An accountant's going to do that as well. We really don't do that. We make a commission when we sell the product. We don't make a commission until we do. So there's a couple things that we just started charging in an advisor type fee up front, because they just have cut the commission so much. It's just not worth our time unless we can maybe charge the client $100 a year for a consultation. But
makes sense.
But really, there's no reason not to go talk to an insurance agent about your needs and try and figure out what's going on and what's best for you. It's just always best to go talk to the expert.
When is a good time for someone to come and see someone like you?
Sure. So, for any time that you are making a life change. Okay. So if you
if you just got married, for example.
If you're getting married, if you're having a child, if you're buying a new house, if you're buying a new car.
Okay.
Anytime that you're bringing on a new asset, that's a good time to come talk to me. Anytime you're making a life or a lifestyle change, it's a good time to talk to your insurance agent. One of the things that people don't think about is they buy a house, then they finish the basement 3 years later.
Okay.
That's a big difference in maybe when I met with someone the first time. Hey, we set up your home insurance, but at the time we didn't necessarily need to have water backup coverage or maybe more than $5,000 worth of water backup coverage. So when we met with that person up front, we tailored their policy so they weren't overpaying.
Okay.
So maybe we only used $5,000 of water backup coverage. But now that they have a fully finished basement, they got $40,000 in their basement that they just spent, plus the $5,000 or $10,000 of furniture that they bought. If your sump pump fails due to a rainstorm in May, which is happens here in Iowa, now all of a sudden you have a huge loss on your hands that when you first met you didn't tell us about, and you didn't tell us it changed. We don't necessarily know that you finished your basement. So that's another thing, another big reason to have an insurance agent. We'll reach out to our clients generally annually and say, hey, let's just at least walk through it 15 minutes over the phone. I like to try and do a face-to-face review. Okay. Because a lot more things come out in that. But we also have the ability to do conference calls, face-to-face calls. We can do Skype type reviews with people, meet people at the coffee shop and have a review. It's real simple for us to just go through that. I don't remember the specifics of the fact, but I know that most people spend more time planning their annual family vacation than they do reviewing their insurance policies, which is silly, right? I mean, that's one of your biggest financial parts of your portfolio is your insurance products, making sure that they're up to date, making sure that they're going to protect the asset that you need. Sure. You should set aside at least a half an hour every year to go through that with your advisor, and it doesn't cost you anything. Well,
and not much time either. Half an hour a year. That's wow, totally. That makes sense.
And some people need an hour or two, or maybe some people need one every 6 months, depending on the type of business or the type of needs that they have. Just a simple home and auto is kind of our basic client. Okay. We can cover that in a half-hour phone call easily, maybe a 10-minute phone call.
Sure. Okay. Well, if someone was wanting to reach out to you locally, or maybe anywhere, what's the best way to reach out to you? Like, maybe give us a phone number, website.
Yeah, our phone number for our office is 515-518-1700. Okay. My extension is number 1. My assistance is number 2. Our website is www.insureelite.com. So INSURE and then another ELITE.com. That has all our contact information. Our reviews are out there. Cool. And then email chris@insureelite.com.
Yep. And if they're to stop by your home office, what address is that?
Yeah. So we are at 702 Southwest 4th Street in Ankenys. We're in Suite 109 and 103. Okay. But we try to be by appointment only. Gotcha. So we don't necessarily, it's not that we don't want people popping in on us and to meet us, but really we like to set up an appointment because we want to make sure that we're available. We don't want someone taking an hour out of their day.
When you're in a conference room and then you can't meet with them on time.
Exactly. Okay. And our office, as you know, it's an office suite. So we don't have a receptionist. But it's just trying to be a lean business, right? With expenses. Of course. And with technology, we can certainly operate like that. And we've never really had a problem with that.
So, good. Awesome. Yeah. Well, you guys listen to that. If you need to meet with Chris, call him or reach out to him to set an appointment. My last question for you today, Chris, is what is your definition of an entrepreneur?
Well, I think an entrepreneur has a deep self-belief that they're going to be able to figure it out or to be successful. So most entrepreneurs are going to have some problem or some type of business that they think they can improve on. Okay. And then they just have this self-confidence that they're going to be able to figure out the next step and the next step and the next step. And they're just always going to be successful. And they're willing to take that step because of that confidence that they built up, over their entire life. Yeah. For me, it's confidence in seeing my family with business. It's confidence that I was able to succeed in baseball and golf and football when I was a kid. Confidence that I was able to get jobs and then be successful as a Farm Bureau agent and just making those moves all the way down. So your whole life makes you self-confident. And I think that most entrepreneurs have something in their life that has made them confident enough to take that step.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks, Chris, for doing this for us. Thanks, guys, for tuning in.